the perennial nature of the simulation theory. We talk about things in the terms of what we actually experience on the day-to-day. The idea that subjective reality is inescapable and that we're all missing some higher objective reality that we don't have access to, or that everything is mere appearance, or that everything is mere illusion, is an idea that shows up throughout the history of Western philosophy, is a principal and core aspect of Indian philosophy, the concept of Maya, the play of illusion, the notion that it's all a game. We talk about it now like, oh, it's all a computer game, because our lives are filled with computer games. The burden of proof will never be a burden we can all collectively lift, because it requires lifting the veil that we can't lift, which is the veil between our subjective terminus points as individuals and the ultimate. Right now we're preoccupied with the image of being in a computer because our lives do quite distinctly occur in computers. But there's been so many expressions of it across history. It's perhaps one of the eldest and most recurrent philosophical perspectives, and now it feels very resonant to frame it in terms of, oh shit, we're all ones and zeros, and that helps us explain the strangeness of quantum phenomena, because we have a very observational and empirical and data-driven paradigm in our current consciousness. Which is why, for me, recently, is I feel in my own work and in my own heart a sort of exhaustion point of talking about, be it as it may that we're in the simulation. Then what? Clearly things could be a lot better. I could feel a lot better than I feel now. I know many people who could feel better than they feel now. Our lives are dominated by the notion of existential crisis through climate catastrophe, and yet I myself and so many who feel cognizant of that fact feel unable to motivate ourselves to do anything about it. We hear congressional hearings that there may be extraterrestrials with far more certainty than anybody ever cared to imagine, and then suddenly it's common knowledge, and still we can't feel like it matters. It's very difficult to keep on clinging to the notion that anything matters or that our actions matter. And that's kind of what I'm interested in recovering. Like, if we accept that simulation theory as possible, what does that do for us? You know? And how does it help us? Does it liberate us? Does it make us feel more whole? Does it make it so we can act better toward one another if we define better as more promotive of shared joy than shared suffering? Because ecological consciousness is about recognizing the relationships of material reality that constitute your being, which for a human being means, where does my food come from? What do I do with the waste I produce having digested that food? And what other material items, tools, implements, commodities, etc., do I need to acquire and not need to acquire in order to continue to effectuate that process of material existence? And that is the thing from which I feel, as a modern human being, utterly estranged. I don't typically have a direct relationship with where my food comes from. I may be in a simulation, but if I am, then I should try and play that game well. I have a friend named Devin Persons. We were talking about this, and he said, you should get more experience points for getting those organic tomatoes than the inorganic ones pumped full of chemicals that degrade the soil because of the factory farm that they come from. So there is a basis for a simulation ethics, and then the conversation becomes like alive and interesting to me in a way that it isn't usually. It's level one to go, let's talk shop about the nature of reality and see what that makes us feel. But level two is like, okay, I'm going to experimentally see what it means then for me to be here in this strange simulated mystery. I'm going to lean into that RPG game that I am the agent of. I'm going to excel on this quest. And again, we can talk about what that excellence is defined by. Is it caring for others? Is it caring for the earth, even if the earth is ones and zeros? I don't know. That can be part of the discussion as well, but it seems to me that the answers to that will be discovered through action as much as through discussion. You know what I'm saying?